Hello everyone. So in this part we are starting by creating our cart page section. So this the whenever we're gonna click on buy now, it should take us to the cart. Right now we didn't have any page as name as cart. So in that user scenario, so in the user, I'm gonna take a different folder or a new folder which going to name as cart, and within that cart I'm gonna take a page dot tsx or a fce. So this one going to be named as cart page. Okay, if I hit save and now click on that buy now, you see now I am in within my cart page. So we are going to wrap it with our container. So let's just copy and paste it here. And now as the cart, it's gonna be rely on especially for our state, or as you can say, it will be rely on our store. So right now if I want to take the data from the store, we need to use the use selector hook. So that's why our cart page should be as a client side component. But instead of making this page component here, I'm gonna just create a several component, which if I go and create one file which going to be cart container.tsx. So this one we are going to render the cart product here, and then we are just going to append this thing here. So it will be cart container. Okay, so the cart container is just showing up here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna call the product, especially for the cart product in this scenario. So instead of doing it here, I'm gonna close others. And if we just check in the not header, but I believe it's in a sidebar cart, you see how we got that cart product. So that's the same scenario we can create. So we can just grab that here using the use selector to get our all card item. We can also check that store state, and after that, as we are using that portion, we need to make that use client. So hit save. So after saving, we should be able to get our product here. No worries, we're gonna just showcase the products whatever we are getting right now. So how the things it will going to look like if we just go back here in our previous example. So now if we just go to, you see that product, price, quantity and subtotal. So in that ratio it should be aligned. So we need to create that one right now. And to create that one, let's go in our cart container. Here we're gonna take that action. So first I'm gonna define some parameter. If that cart dot length, okay, cart dot length is bigger than 0, then I'm gonna show a div here which going to showcase the product. And some way, if there is no product, if there is no product in the cart, then I want to showcase one div which will be no product. For right now, I'm gonna keep it like that. Later on, we're gonna fix this so the product is available, right? So if the product is available, we want to showcase the product. How we can showcase that? So within div, I'm gonna take another div parameter, and on that, I'm gonna take an h2 which going to say us as product. I'm gonna just duplicate that several times. One will be product, one it will be price, another we are going to just create that as quantity, and the last one it will be subtotal. Save. So as you see, 4 quantity ratio is there. So now we need to fix that to okay, should be here. Let's go. Okay, so now we need to arrange it in a proper way. What we can say is there class name should be, I'm gonna make a padding bottom of 20, so it's gonna crush everything within that scenario. And over there I'm gonna take a class name which is going to be width of full, and I'm gonna define a height of 20, and then bj, I'm gonna just make a default dummy bj. Background color should be f5, and text should be accent. I think we're giving the accent, and by default it will be hidden. So an LG screen, I'm gonna just make it as a grid. So is it like that? If we go over here, yeah, that one is gone, so we can put in that scenario. And then we're gonna make that grid columns of 5, and also there place content should be center, and padding X should be, we can say it will be 6, and text should be LG, font should be semi bold. So now if we go over there, as you see, we have that portion, so means that scenario we are creating right now. Yeah, we will make that one as a 2 span, so it's cool. Now we have product, price, quantity, and other scenario. For that H2, for this product ratio, I'm gonna make it as a call span of 2, so it will take a little bit more room than this unusual things here. Sorry, not, it should be call span, yeah, call span 2. As you see now, it's stretching everything in the other side. So now after that portion, I'm gonna take one more div here, and within that div, remember I have my cart, right? So cart.map, we're gonna pass that item, which is the product data item we have here, and we're gonna return as another div, or we can say we can return another item. I'm gonna just grab one component here, which will be that cart item.tsx or fce. So the cart item properties should be aligned here. It will be cart item. Okay, and from there we need to provide the key, which will be item.id, and then also we're gonna provide that the card, entire card, we can say we can send them there, or we can just simply send the item from there. It just depends on us. So right now, okay, we're gonna also pass entire card, so should be that card, and we're gonna pass the item, which would be our single item. If I come over here, you see that is available right here. So to make that one looks a perfect ratio, what I'm gonna do in that div sense here, on that layer, put a class name, margin top should be 5, just to scratch a bit in the bottom layer. So now from here, I'm gonna take that scenario, as I'm gonna just make that one, this 2 portion which you are sending, which one is the cart and another one is the item, and the both we're gonna define that interfaces, which are going to be as and props. And for the cart, it will be that product data, which in the array, and for that item, which just going to having that product data, and this one we are just going to line on that as props. Okay, done. So now we need to make a several scenario here. First scenario, we will just go and define what kind of things we want to show and how we want to make that happen. So first thing first, I'm gonna come over here. Remember, we used to make a 5 column at the top, so I'm gonna make it width should be full, and it will be go in a grid, and grid column should be 5, and margin bottom should be 4, and border I'm gonna provide, and padding Y should be 2. So that's the ratio, that's the scenario we are now creating, you see. So after that, on that particular instances, I'm gonna take another div ratio here, or you can say, yeah, I'm gonna take another div. Why it's not coming? Another div, and also for that div, I'm gonna make it in a flex. Flex should be, I will make flex, and by default that call span, I'm gonna provide a 5 call span. It will be default. MD call span should be 2. So whenever hit an MD to span, item center and also gap should be 4, and margin left should be 4. So that's the first parameter here. So in that one, we're gonna first say icon, cross icon we're gonna provide, by which a person can delete the item from the database, not from the database, from our store. And this one for class name text, it will be the accent color, hover, text should be is it the, we have the right color, right? We need to go in tailwind, we have light red, yes, it should be light red. And after that, cursor pointer and the duration, you can go also create that hover effect portion here, so no worries. As you see, if we go here, okay, but this, yeah, that's kind of same thing we are creating here. Cool. So in that icon, what is going to happen? But before just making that other scenario, I'm going to take another link parameter by which I want to showcase the product image. So on that link, I'm going to take my image key from the, like the image need to import from the next image, And here I'm going to define the source. Remember how we use the source URL for, then item.image, and then dot get me the URL from there. That's it. And also for the href, it will just take / because we are going to use the backtick here, should be / product, and then / we need to provide that our unique ID, item dot slack dot current. And here in alt tag, we're gonna make that item dot title. And for the width, we're gonna provide a width of 200 and the height of 200. And for the class name, width 32 defined, 32, height 32, and object should be content. Hit save. We should be able to see one image right now. So right now, if we also click that image, it will go directly to that particular single image section here. And now I'm gonna just popping up the other parameter, or here on that cross icon, we can also make that on click event. And to do that, we also need to like const dispatch should be use dispatch. So we're gonna write one single just simple arrow function, and here we're gonna take two parameter. First we're gonna dispatch, and that dispatch going to make that remove from cart, and within that parameter we're gonna pass that item dot ID. If we just go in that slices, as you see what we did here, we make that one for remove from cart. We are just going to take that from that action dot payload, means whatever we are going to sending directly in the payload, we can just contradict with that, which is not equal to as ID. So first we need to just send back our ID over here, and it will work fine. So after dispatching that method, also we're gonna make that as a toast.success. So should be toast, need to import dot success. Here within the here within the backtick formation, we're going to maintain that item dot title, which also make that to substring. We're gonna properly align at 0 to 12, just making that deleted from cart. And now if we come over here, click that, you see that one is removed. If I click one more, it's removed. So now our removal function is working perfectly. So this parameter over here, it seems quite good. And after that image, that link of that image, we also going to take another h1 tag, which going to define that our, let's say, item.title. So we'll make that, we are just going to grab that portion from here, because that's the same thing we're going to do it here. Save. So instead of 12, I'm going to make it as 20. Save. You see the product title over here, so you can see the name, which product is that one. So here I'm going to provide an class name for that h1. Font should be that semi-bold. That's it. Okay, so our product section is done. So this is the div which surpluses so all the criteria. So now here we're gonna take another div, right? So on that div, taking a p tag, and over here, or without a p tag, we can simply just, or I'll go with the p tag, and then for method price, and within that price we're gonna pass the amount. The amount should be our, what you can say, it should be item dot price. So that would be the amount, you see, it's there. So for that proportion, we are going to just make that, we will make that flex width, it will be 1/3. So half of the width it's gonna take. Not for this one. Yeah, I think that would be good. Item center, we're gonna, text should be LG, and font should be semi-bold. So should be, it will be the center align. Okay, is it not coming? So why is not happening? Put some class name. We're gonna make that as a call span of 5, and MD should be call span of 3, and then a flex item center justify between, padding Y should be 4, and padding and then whenever we're gonna hit an MD skin, padding Y should be 0, padding X should be 4, LG padding X should be 0. Hit save. Let's see what's the things it just created over here. Okay, now we are in the middle. We have the price section, we have the product section. Now let's bring up the quantity portion, and after that the subtotal portion. And to go with the quantity, we need to think how we're gonna shuffle that. You see, in the quantity, you're gonna have two buttons. One, it will increase the quantity, one will decrease the quantity. In the subtotal, it will showcase our entire price method. So first, we are just going to pass that price section over here. So that's the p tag. After that p tag, I'm gonna just get one, let's say below that p tag. So okay, we can say like that. So I'm gonna take another div. Here should be formatted price again. Formatted price. Over here we're gonna pass that amount should be item dot quantity into should be item dot quantity into item dot price. So the price section calculation, it will come over here. Right now it will showcase, you see, it's showcasing there. I think we need to roll back one step further, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, there. Okay, so right now what we are going to do is that to showcase that within that scenario, let's put a class name on that div. So it should be class name. So also we're gonna take another div over here, which should be that quantity. Okay, so to implement this one, we're gonna say that similarly, which should be 1/3, as you're gonna divide that. Flex item center, and then font should be bold and text should be LG. Save, and we should be able to see that. You see, the title is there. Now we need to fix the quantity portion, and for that quantity also put a class name which going to be which should be 1/3, and it's gonna be a flex item center, gap should be 6, and text should be large text. Now we are having the quantity. From this static quantity, we need to create that dynamic ratio. And how we can do that? It's pretty simple, straightforward. How we can do that? We're gonna just grab like we can say one span, which is going to be like say far minus icon, and after that going to grab a, let's say a p tag, which will define that item dot quantity, then another span tag which should be far plus icon. That's it. So that two individual layer, it going to give us this proportion. So for the quantity, it's a not that much property should be aligned there. Text, I'm gonna make any small text, and font should be semi-bold just to keep it aligned. And for that span tag, that's where the magic going to start. So width should be 6 and height should be 6, and also bg should be gray of 100, and then we can say bg gray 100, text should be sm, going to flex item center, justify center, hover, bg should be dark orange, but we're gonna provide a 10% of opacity from there. Cursor should be pointer. Border, we're gonna define a border of 1 pixel, and then border should be gray of 300. Whenever we're gonna hover, border would be it should be border would be dark orange, and from that dark orange scenario, I will keep that same dark orange, and also we're gonna pass that our hover effect properties. Now as you see, on-site hover, okay, cool. The same things, I'm just gonna copy that, and also for this one I'm gonna just pass this. Okay, so right now we have this span. Instead of span, you can also align that button, right? As it's clickable things, you can also keep the button. No worries for that ratio, it will work similarly with same fashion. So now what we're gonna do, once we're gonna click, we need to add one quantity. Once we click in minus, we need to decrease the quantity. So now we will create that increasing and decreasing functionality over here, by which we can increasing the command like the quantity and decrease the quantity. So it will be creating an on-click event, handle minus. So mi and us handle minus, by which we will decrease the quantity over there. So here we will say cost handle minus, which is going to be a simple arrow function. And to just go with that, because as you see, also we are having that minus, we cannot make that one, like if it's 1 we cannot decrease less than 1, right? So that's the properties we need to create. For right now we have nothing to do here, but we're gonna create that functionality so that it will not just increase like that. So first of all, I'm gonna grab that existing quantity and how we can make that happen. So I'm gonna take an instance, should be const existing product set product should be use state. By default we're gonna just make it as, let's say, null, and within that null property in that use state we're gonna also make it as a type save, should be product data, or it can contain that null property. So both that can be handled within that scenario. I'm gonna just remove that extra parameter. So right now we're gonna also define that using an use state hook. Okay, not use state, as use effect hook. So use effect, and also we're gonna use that empty for that to create that it will not render if that changes is not happen. Then dependency, it will be one for the cart, another for the item. So now what kind of things we're gonna render from here? So const available products is equal to, it should be the cart dot, we're gonna go in a find method and take the parameter as a product. So within the product should be product dot id is equal to whatever the item we have, item dot id. So that should be matching together, available available, and also that products we're gonna pass that as the parameter, which should be our product data. Why was wrong over here? So that's the, we call it the product, okay, should be underscore. Okay, so like I'm gonna just look forward within this entire cart item, if anything is matching with that id means it's available already, right? So now we're gonna write a single condition over there, if we have that available product. So if available product is there, then only we can set something, and other than we're gonna just go with some other property, right? So if the product is available, then we're gonna make that set existing product. Existing product is equal to be that available product. So now we can set the available product from there. Whenever it's matched, it will just go and pop up that instances. So in the handle minus options, we're gonna write a simple functionality. If we have that existing product, then what is going to happen? Others when it's going to happen. So it will be one simple is and else condition. Here what I'm gonna say, if we have that existing product and dot quantity is bigger than 1, right? Only then we are going to, and also we need to provide that scenario which will be as number. So now if we have that existing quantity is bigger than 1, then we're gonna dispatch something which will be decrease quantity. Here I'm gonna passing that item dot id, and also we're gonna pass a message, should be toast dot success. It will mention that quantity decreased successfully. And if it's not mentioned with that, like if it's not like is equal to, like is less than 1 or 0 it can be, then it gonna pass that that message, quantity cannot decrease less than 1. So this is in our local host. If we click, we should be say quantity cannot decrease less than 1. So that's the one parameter. And another parameter is that to just dispatching the function to increase the quantity. So within that parameter on that button, we are just going to simply write on click. Here we're gonna write a simple setup, so should be on click, and there we will make that dispatch increase quantity, should be item dot, and here we're gonna pass that our id over there, and also we can just pass that toast dot success message, which will be quantity increase successfully. Okay, so right now if we click, as you see, is increasing. If we decrease, it's also decreasing, but it cannot decrease less than 1. Also, we can do one set of things. So if whenever we can make it as the like not like anybody cannot make it touch on that, so we can set the value const disabled set disabled should be use state it's going to be as false. So right now is finding that available item. You can also make that scenario to find that disabled item means the quantity. You see that the solution what we are giving here, so that's the one we can count, and that's the portion we can use. So this the scenario we can make that one, like whenever the number is there, okay, or we can just go over here, so we can just create for you here on it also not be available, and also we can just handle minus, we can make it as a disable, but this time you need to keep it and that use effect. So it depends on you. I'm just blocking that one, but you can also make that one as the simplest way of possible. So right now we can increase the quantity, we can decrease the quantity. So I think it's a good way to go in that cart item. If we go over in this place, so the cart item, and after that we also going to provide a button here which by which we can remove all the product from there, which will be receipt cart, and you can see it's here. So let's grab some design for it. So in that button we're gonna make some class name, padding y it will just going to be 2, padding x we're gonna put it 10, and then background color should be light red. Let's see it's working or not. Yeah, it's working. And after that red also we need to define that text should be white, or we can just make that instead of this proportion we can make red of 600, or we can go with the 700. Okay, then I think no, the previous one is good. Light red is combining the proper way. So when the font should be semi bold, and we're gonna make it an uppercase, margin bottom should be 4, so we can take the other parameter, and hover bj should be red of 600, so we're gonna pass that hover effect to combine that design ratio, as you see. Okay, cool. You can also make that rounded MD or SM just to see that properly, and also can say text should be a small text. Okay, I think padding y should be 3 would be in a perfect way. So whenever we're gonna click, we're gonna reset our entire card, right? And to do that, it's a very simple. So what I'm gonna say, on click handle reset cart. So we did that within that function we're gonna just handle the cart receipt parameter. So it should be const handle receipt, and we need to get our dispatch method. Dispatch should be use dispatch. So here we're gonna do two things. First, we will get the confirm message, right? We are not going to directly delete reset the entire card. We will take the confirmation from the user, because maybe by default or by mistakenly you can just click on that and your card is resetted, which is not a good practice. Is it our head? Our header is not, yeah, it's moving. So I'm gonna just go back our header a little quick. I'm gonna make that one as sticky. So sticky z should be 50 top 0 left 0. Okay, yeah, now we are having it. Like to see the use case scenario, if we click on receipt card, so that alert first it will come, then we're gonna receipt our entire card. So to, okay, header is sticky, we create. So right now what we're gonna say, we're gonna make that as a confirm message, should be confirmed, and that confirm it will be coming from that window.confirm, and there we'll say, are you sure to receive your card? And if that confirm is saying the yes, then we are going to receive the card. So it should be dispatch, and here we're gonna just make that receipt card, which just simple function, and then toast.success should be card receipt Successfully hit save. And the same scenario, if we come over here, reset our card, yes, you see the no product is available right now because we sending it that no product should be showcasing like that. So if we roll back in my component here where this no product layer is available, here we're gonna provide a motion.div to just to create an align with the motion, and to let effective the motion we need to install that npm I framer motion. So that's the library which we are going to use to combine that our motion effect. And to get that things done within our application layer, we need to import that one. Should be import motion from it should be, did we yeah, we misspelled the name, should be npm I framer motion. So instead of that, it will grab that our same case framer motion. Let's install. So after installing, it will just combine in that loop. So on that motion perspective, what kind of things we are going to showcase within this parameter? First thing first, we are going to have a div here. Within that div, we should have an image, so it will be one image ratio. So on that particular image, what we are going to define is that we will provide one is imported, not yet. So the source property, it should be going there, empty card. Did we have that image? Let's just see if we are having that. So in that component, I'm going to close all. So in the source, we doesn't have any asset properties, so we are just for right now, okay, without, I don't want to showcase any image, I will just pass the message directly, which going to be one h1 tag and saying your card feels lonely, then we're gonna pass a message and then tag. So it will be just a simple scenario how we are going to add that positioning. So I'm gonna just popping up also that link need to be getting from the next link. So what we are generating here, that your cart feels lonely, your shopping cart lives for it to serve, give it purpose, fill it with books. So that's the message. If we just roll back, if we click on continue, it will take us to the home. So let's roll back here. We're gonna keep that within the middle. So first thing first, put a class name, should be flex and should be item center, justify center to keep in a center align. And also therefore we can make that padding y should be 20 just to give it a room on that. Okay, cool. And for that motion parameter, initially it will be just simple of that y should be, let's say 20, and opacity should be 0. And we want to create an animation effect, so once we animate, and then y should be 0 and opacity should be 1. And then we are going to effect that transition, and the transition, it will be duration, we're going to provide 0. Duration 0.4. okay, it's safe. So now if we just reload, you see it gonna just scroll a bit from there. So that's we have right now. And also if we click and add more products, now you see that will be disappearing and we have our product. So after having that product, now we need to provide a showcase by which user can purchase the product. So that's the button. We are not going to having the coupon slot till now. So I'm gonna just grab a div here. Within the div, I'm gonna take another div and then put an h1 tag, should be cart totals. So here we're gonna define the cart totals. In this scenario, it's having this side. You can keep it at this side, you can keep it at this side, it just depends on you. So let's put some class name, should be max width of 7 axle, and then we will also make that one as what you can say. For right now, what I'm going to do, instead of keeping that proportion, no, let's just have that also flex justify in property. So you're gonna provide so that it will be this side, and I'm gonna just a small bit so that you can see it properly. You're gonna keep it side by side. Okay, cool. So now we have the cart totals, And for the cart totals, providing the class name, we should be text should be 2XL and font should be semi bold and text should be right properties. Okay, and after that h1 tag, we should have another div, and within that div properties gonna a p tag should be subtotal, and here we're gonna make that formatted price should be available there, and after that we're gonna just put an amount which should be just right now I'm gonna make it to 50 just to showcase how it's going to be look alike. In that div, put a class name, that one, instead of putting it here, we can grab it here. Class name, we're gonna give a width of 96, and flex should be in column, and we're gonna also provide gap of 4. Okay, and for that this portion here, so that's the div. I think that's the p tag which we need to work on. Need to flex item center, justify between to stretch bit everything, and then we're gonna make a border should be 1 pixel, and then border should be gray of 400, and also we're gonna make that border bottom should be 0, so that it will creating this scenario here. So bottom should be 0, and after that also we need to combine that properties. Padding y should be 1.5, padding x we're gonna just make that 4, I think. Yeah, I think that will be fine, and text should be LG, font should be medium. Okay, that's cool. So one is that one, another it should be, I'm just gonna duplicate 3 times. Okay, so now right now for, I think that's the last one. Yeah, that's the last one, so that the border bottom this requirement is not necessary. Okay, so right now there would, in the subtotal, it will be just going for that shipping charge, and that one it will go for our total. And after that scenario, like we're gonna give the price there in shortly. So now after that we are going to have a button directly, so it will be a button. As you see, that's the button layer we are going to create right now. So also we can go our button which we have previously we have been created, so we can save the button and it will just showcase that proceed to checkout. You see the button flag is super dump, so one down layer here. So right now instead of that button we have it, okay, no problem. So instead of wrapping it over, we can pretty much providing that, I think it should work here. I don't know why is, okay, that's the div we need to work on, so it should be okay, let's just think how we can see that. I think here is good, no worries. But the problem is after passing this portion we cannot grab that property, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wrap that, so that's my div. So instead of pushing that everything in between, I'm gonna cut it, I'm gonna wrap within another div directly, and then I'm gonna proceed that one within its circle. Okay, cool. So right now we have the button, put a class name, and then we're gonna define how we want to see it. Padding y should be 3, padding x should be 8, and rounded should be, is it rounding over there? Yeah, little bit rounded, so it will be defined rounded should be MD. Okay, and in the hover effect we are having that similar effect. So now we need to combine the functionality, and then we're gonna make that other parameter. Also we have the disable flag, remember, disabled. For right now let's go in the button. I think we don't have any flag called disabled, which should be a, if it's available, should be a boolean value, and that disable flag, whenever that is coming it will appear. So disabled, and right now we're gonna pass our disable. So if we go over here and say it's true, right now as you see it's still showcasing, but we can say whenever if is disabled, background color should be gray of 300. You see, Now it's just affecting the color. Also we can provide is the way we want, it depends on us. So instead of 300 this color, we can say dark orange and giving an opacity of 20. Okay, or we can say as 40. So if we just make it as false, we can just click on that. So we can create the scenario according to the facility we are going to entertain. So we are going to make it visible according to our session, means the user. If the user is available, only then it will be visible. Otherwise, if it's no user, if we just roll back from here, sign out, and then go back to card, like okay, still I think maybe it's taking, yeah, you see, it's just not updating it. So without the session, it will not be able to create the checkout. So let's go. We're gonna create right now our session, which we will use that Auth.js, and to do that we will just go with get started, and we'll get started with a Next.js. So we need that command to install the dependency and install it, and after it's gonna install that NextAuth, which is now in beta mode, and after that also it will generate that NextAuth secret command. So that command we can use in our .env file over here, which going to be apply that one. So here we're gonna dump this merge secret, which will be NextAuth URL, auth secret, and Google ID. So for our URL, it should be right now the localhost 3000, that one it will be. And to generate the secret, we can directly go and run that command in that our local file. It will just generate one secret file, which it will be coming on that local variation. But also you can generate, if you just to see how you can get the secret, it's just a configuration you need to follow through. So after that, we need to create a file named auth.ts in our root directory. We're gonna do that. So in from that env file, I'm gonna just cut that there, I'm gonna paste it, and this one I'm gonna remove. Okay, so what I'm gonna do in that root layer, in our application layer, we need to provide several properties. So there I'm gonna just provide one more node over here. It should be in the root layer. Okay, it should be in the root. It will be auth.ts, and here we can just copy this portion which is mentioning over there, just importing the NextAuth and then providing the other parameter. And for that handler sign in, sign out, and auth, we are going to use that Google parameters just to grab the login for our this application, and also need to import that one. So for this provider, need to import Google from NextAuth providers./Google, and after that also need to configure that route over there in our NextAuth route configuration. And to do that, we need to go and grab the similarities. I'm gonna copy this function, and after that let's roll back over here. I believe, did you have on API? No, we will create a directory called API. Within that API we'll create another directory which going to be auth, and within the auth we're gonna create another one dot should be NextAuth, and enter. And here we're gonna create a file name route.ts, then paste it here. So now from there we can use the handlers. So this method is not working. It's because in that tailwind, I think the tsconfig.json, we also, beside that properties, we will also go there, like we need to define that it will also generate the properties from our root like the root route parameters. So it will just go over there / and then star. So it can also predefine the value from the root indicator, and now you see that can import from there. So this is the method we are going to be activated. So right now what we need to do is to create a sign in page. So this is our page. Here we will make that sign in, and here we will create another page which will be page.tsx rafce, should be the page which we're gonna create for sign in page. Now if we click on the sign in, you see we are now here within our sign in page. So in that particular tab we are going to go and create our authentication parameter. Now there is the several authentication parameters which we can follow through, but for our this build we will just go and create the authentication for that Google Authenticator. So now I'm gonna take our container, done. So putting the similar ratio, and here the class name padding y should be 20, flex column justify center, and item should be center to keep everything in the middle ratio. Okay, so right now what I'm gonna do is that create a sign in method within Google. So what I'm gonna do within that parameter, I'm gonna just render a from. So it will be a from, and from that form we're gonna provide that action and other parameter, but within that form I'm gonna pass one button here which is going to say sign in with Google. And for that properties I'm gonna just grab another, I need to provide the image, so I'm gonna define that assets, and from the assets we're gonna just grab the image which we require for that property instances. So I'm gonna just grab one Google image. Okay, that's the image we can just set it here to combine that. You can download from the web just to get one Google image and then use it here. So what I'm gonna do, first import that image here. So import Google image from, it should be asset and then Google image. So over here we're gonna take an image scenario like to provide a combination. So it will be image, let's import it from the next image and close. So the source parameter should be that Google image, and the alternative tag should be also Google image. Hit save. Let's see if we can see anything here. Yeah, that's super big. We will just concat it to make it looks better. With the class name should be a flex, item center, gap should be, we're gonna put one of the gap combination. And before going further, for that image, put a class name over here. I'm gonna make that width of 8. Okay, small image ratio, so that you see the image, it will not freak out right now. So now we can just go and grab some class name more here. So that time you'll put the border should be blue of 500. We can go align with that. Font should be semi bold, background color should be blue of 50, and padding X we're gonna give a 4, and padding Y should be 1.5, rounded should be MD. So let's see how it's looking like. Yeah, that looks quite cool. And after that, whenever we're gonna hover on that, background color should be blue of 800, and hover text should be white, and we will make that hover effect ratio to combine that other parameters, you see. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so now once we hit in directly on that, we should be able to create sign in. So in that action we'll just go and create a several synonym which will be async function. So now here we are going to define, we will make use server, so that's going to hit that server action, and then await should be sign in from our auth, not from others, from our auth. You see that portion should be there. So in that sign in we will pass the method of Google, and also we're gonna pass that redirect to like after login where it gonna redirect. Save. Now if we click on that right now, because we need to provide so many other variation, means the URL key for the success URL, not the success of for that combination of that. If you just go back to our env file and check what we require right now, next pub this stripe secret, I think 2 more, auth Google ID and auth Google secret. So these 2 parameters, so one should be ID, another should be for secret. And how you can grab that? To grab this portion, I will just go with that Google Cloud Console, or we can just go with that Google Firebase, because we need to create one application to go and construct the layer for our Firebase Firestore. And from here I will change the account. So right now I'll just roll back to my console over here, And from the console, I need to create one application. So as you see, we didn't create any application within that account. So right now it's showing to go, okay, explore only the demo. So we can go over here. So we can go with get started a Firebase project. So right now I have no project within that email. So within that account, if I click, now I need to provide the name of our project, which should be Shoppers YT. And okay, accept the terms condition. Okay, continue. And after continuing, I don't want to use that Google Analytics, so create the project. And after creating, we're gonna grab all the properties from here. So in this layer, I'm gonna create one more file, which will be firebase.ts, by which we're gonna create our Firebase authentication parameter over here. Then also you're gonna grab this similar parameters which is required for our application. Okay, let's click on continue. So our application which we are building is created. You see, we're within our application. We will go for the web setup, and the name, like the nickname we can provide. So I will just provide the same nickname, YT, register our application. And after registering, it's gonna provide so many things which we need to just copy paste to our application layer. You see, first thing first, we need to install that application if we want to work with that. So let's paste here to install the Firebase, and after that I need to copy that entire things from here. Okay, so don't try to copy paste and use that one, because it will not be a good practice if you're using directly from here. So you use your own properties, because otherwise it will having an issue for your application. So in that Firebase.ts, I'm gonna paste everything. And as we are setting up the application layer, we also need to combine some of the properties. So let's just give a few time to install that one. So now we can define that once the application is there or not, and then how it can be go through that. So what we're gonna do, just reframe that on that get apps from our Firebase apps, and then we can just redefine on that. If the get apps dot length is there, means the application is already there, so then it gonna just pass that get app to get the application layer. Otherwise we're gonna initialize a new application. And to use the DB also, you're gonna make the DB is equal to get Firestore, and we're gonna just land our app here. So that Firestore need to import from this just say okay, it's not that one. Let's import Firestore, should be get Firestore store from Firebase Firestore. Okay, so that's we're gonna wrap from here. And after that we're gonna export our, if we want to use the app, we can restore the app. Also we can get the DB if we want to use the DB. For right now we are just going to use the DB, which going to be storing our orders data, and later on we're gonna configure the others parameter also. So let's just continue to console, and after continuing we need to set up two different variable. One, it will be coming for that Firestore database, where actually we can land through and keep our orders data. Whenever an user making the payment, we should be able to keep that data over in this database. So create a database, and we will just go through the default parameter, which now this for the test mode. So the Firestore, whatever is providing as default, we're going to grab that. Okay, creating. Let's hold a bit. Okay, our Firestore database is created. Then we'll go with our authentication. For that method, we will just go and create one authentication method, should be get started, and then we're gonna choose what kind of method we are preferring. Right now we'll go with just simple Google, and click enable. That's the project ID. Okay, that's the supported client ID and other parameters. So we need to provide that email, and this, for this one we need to just roll back to our Google API console. So I'm gonna make save from here. Then we're gonna grab the data which is requiring for our Google client ID and Google client secret. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab that client ID and client secret. Note that one GitHub should be Google, so this one it will be auth Google secret. So now as you see that Google authentication is, we keep it enabled, hit save. Then from here we will just create just roll back to our change the application layer, and from that properties what we're gonna do, we're gonna select a project, and if we click in all, we should be able to see shoppers YT is right now here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on that properties, and also I need my application URL, which is going to be that localhost 3000. And from here I'm gonna just add a new URI, should be adding this portion, and after that in the URI should be adding this, which is going to be API auth callback Google. Hit save. After saving, we should be able to get the secret, so that's the client ID we got. So I will copy that and paste it here. So we're getting our client ID. Now we need to grab that our client secret. If you click on that, and as you see, secret is available. So don't use that one because I'm gonna change it after building that application. Try to use your own secret which is available. So auth Google secret. So right now we have our auth ID and auth secret. Also need to press save, otherwise it will not work properly. If we come back here, go for our profile, we should be sign in and click on that segment. You see, now we can go back and generate everything, and we can continue to our properties and then see the data flow. Okay, it's loading and it's coming back to our application layer. Okay, we are good. Now if we log in or not, how we can showcase, as you see that dummy image properties here. In this portion we will just focus to showcase our actual image. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go with that sidebar, and on that sidebar, remember that's the method which we need to implement. So of course we will make it an async function, cync, because we're gonna get our session which it coming from that get session, and that session it will be also getting imported for live manage session. We can just go and feel free to it. I think instead of NextAuth session we will we will just get from our auth. That's it. So the session it will be available right now. So if you just make a log here to just check if the session is available, so it will be session, and if we go back to our terminal, as it's still in server side, we can view it in our terminal. As you see, we have user, email and name and expiration data. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove that, so we can write a condition over here. As you see right now, as we have that one particular parameter, so one icon, so we're gonna replace that icon with that particular session provider. So what I'm gonna do, simple condition, if we have the session and then we have the user, then we're gonna provide something, otherwise provide something. So what's we gonna provide if we have the user, how it going to look like? So what I'm gonna do, render, whenever I have one user, I'm gonna just render one particular image here, and on that particular image we're gonna define that parameter because we want to showcase our user image. So the source should be a session.image which should be as a string, or without getting it over here, we can find a simple solution. Okay, what kind of solution we can provide? No, I think that's the one only we have. Okay, so image as a string, and the alt tag should be user image, and also session.user should be there, user.image. So if we save, we should be able to see one user. For the first one should be applied there. Okay, let's see. Width and height need to provide because it's coming from the database. So width should be 35 and the height should be 35, and I'm gonna put a class name. Let's just see. You see that image is right here. So what I'm gonna do should be rounded, it will be a full rounded, and after that we're gonna make that minus translate x should be 12, which the same way we supposed to create that. Actually I'm gonna just copy this portion. Okay, and text Excel, it will not be there. Rounded full. Anything changes, it should be appearing. Okay, the first one is appearing. Now we need to work for the second one, so I'm gonna just grab that properties, or we can just go over here, connect that. If we have that session.user, then something rather than something, and of course on that particular instance should be image ratio here, and instead of that we're gonna provide an image. Okay, I think didn't copy it. We need to grab our image, and then we will grab the proper use case scenario here. Save. So right now we should be able to see our image ratio. Okay, you see, cool. So we're having our image. I think for the image it's not, it's, I think 2 will be good, or let's go in the top, so it should be 2 maybe, not 2 actually, should be 4. I think it will be a good match on that. So that one is 4 and that one also in as 4. 4 is getting more spaces, so 2 should be providing. Okay, yeah, I think 2 is fine. So now if we click, we should be able to go and view our profile, from where we can just make that happen to just to roll case to with scenario. So as you see, we are now in the sign in method, so we need to combine one parameters. As you see, once we are hovering on that sign in, we need to cover that. If we have that session and then we have the user, then we're gonna provide somewhere, otherwise provide somewhere. If we have session user, then we are going to take us to not in that one but dashboard. Okay, and also for that particular session segment, like for that in user and also in the sign in, we can define it right now like const session is equal to should be await, and then we need to grab our auth, and this one it will be as an async method. So we can check a overview here. If there is no session.user, so it should be user, then redirect, and that redirect, no, that redirect should be coming from next navigation. We will just redirect to, like if there is session user, only then we're gonna redirect. So right now it's gonna redirect to me directly in the home page. If I just try to go in that sign in, it will always take me back to our home page. So this one is getting messy in the sidebar. So what the things we made it wrong? So group hover, okay, in the group hover we can make it 4. Sorry, that's the one is okay. So this one we can make it as 4. No, 4 is not in good position. 3, 1. Oops, it should be okay, 4. So group hover, which one? The second one. So the first one is we are seeing right now. Okay, here. If we hover on that, I'm gonna make a reload here because that's messing things up. Okay, yeah, now it's cool. Okay, so we're gonna create one dashboard page over here. So in the user should be dashboard, and that dashboard it will go to page.tsx rafce, should be combining our dashboard page. Now if we click, we should be able to roll back to our dashboard page, and here we're gonna create our logout instance. So on that dashboard we'll just define that in a very easy way. Should get our container first here, and within that container parameter we can just define a simple possibilities. Should be getting the title. Within the title should be welcome to your dashboard, and also need to import that not coming, so should be import title from, add should be components, and then we didn't create a title. How we supposed to create? Okay, there is none. Okay, then we can just simply generate that one. So instead of title, I'm gonna put an h2 tag. Class name, that should be text should be 2xl, font should be semi-bold. I'm gonna remove that properties. Okay, so now we are having that title ratio. So what I'm gonna do in that particular container, put a class name p padding y should be vertical, padding should be 10. Okay, and the 10 means around 40 pixels. So here we're gonna take one more div properties, should be div. Then we're gonna get one image properties also, and that image should be aligned from the next image. First, also we can grab our session, should be const session is equal to await auth. So it will just wait for the auth, and then here in the image section we'll put a source should be session.user.image. Oops, should be dot image, which going to be applied as a string, and then alternative tag should be user image, and also for that one width I'm gonna provide a 200 of width, and also for the height 200, and for the class name which should be 10, height should be 10, and we're gonna make it rounded off full, so should be rounded full. So now we should be able to see our user image right here. So after watching that image, we're gonna also provide another div layer. On that div, I'm gonna take a p tag which going to be session.user.name, another one which going to be session.user.email, just to showcase the data over here. Okay, now for that particular instance, put a class name should be flex, item should be center, gap should be 3, and margin y should be 5, and just a gap here. Okay, so after these instances, I believe what's wrong here? Okay, we put it in a wrong proportion. It not be here, it should be here. Okay, so after that instances, we will also going to get one sign out proportion by which we're gonna create the sign out instances. And to grab that, after that div, we can also generate another button, or we can say is a from, and that from it will say sign out. So we should be, is it a sign out? So here we can pass that class name, and we're gonna make it as a like how we can say that we can make it, or in that button we can, in the from we can take a button which it will say sign out, and that class name we will not be providing here, but we're gonna drive it here, which is going to say like border should be gray of 400, and then padding x 4, padding y should be 2, and text should be sm, font should be semi bold, rounded should be md, hover, background color should be bj, gray of 800, hover, text should be white, and we're gonna make with that hover effect, and that button type, it will be, the type should be submit. You see, that's the button type which we are talking about. Also for that padding x, we can make it 8 just to make it a much more bigger. Okay, cool. So right now we are having that portion. Also we can just make that bj of gray of, I think 100 would be fine, just to create a ratio, or let's say 50. Okay, so now once we create the sign out method, how it gonna work, right? So in that action properties, we will also define another async function, which is going to be async function, and then we're gonna make also going to be use the server. So use should be use server, and right now on that scenario we'll make await sign out. Okay, first we're gonna make the sign out, and then we will make that redirect to our home. So once the sign out going to be affected, it will redirect to us to our home. Click sign out, done. And okay, it already is here, so means that redirection, it will not it's not working here. So what I'm gonna do, if no session dot user, then redirect to our home. That's it. So now we are cool. If we click on that profile, you see, we need to also, if we go back here, we need to click on the sign in. It will come us in the similar fashion. Now if we sign in, then we will be able to get that properties to continue, and we will get that things to be done. Now let's roll back to our cart properties, right? If we go here in the cart, we should be able to create the sign in property. You see, now we can create the sign like checkout, but if we are not logged in, what is going to be happen, right? So that's the things we need to showcase. So here we will, now we are not signing. So first thing first, let's roll back to our cart. So it should be user in the cart here, right? So from here we can grab the session directly. So it will be async. So const session await out. Okay, so now we're gonna pass the session to our cart container, should be our session, and in the cart container we can just grab that session. And right now I'm gonna pass it as any value because I know what the session contains, but you can feel free to make the define the types and make it much more better way. So in that button, what we're gonna do for the disable, we're gonna say if no session dot user. So if there is no session dot user, the button, it will be disabled, as you see. And also what the text is there, sign in to make checkout. So what we're gonna do after that, putting a p tag, should be sign in. Please is there, so should be please sign in, to make checkout. Okay, I think that's gonna be the capital, make checkout. Oops, it's okay, done. So if we come back here, that's the text which we created right now. So what I'm gonna do is that, just to make it align, class name text should be center, text should be extra small, or I think SM should be in a perfect way, and font should be medium, text should be that light red, and margin top minus should be 3, just to keep it nearby. So now if we just roll back here and make the sign in with Google, so we should be able to see our checkout instances is done. Continue, and after continuing we can come over here, and if we go to cart again, so now we can make the checkout. But this method we will coming with if we have the session dot user, and if there is no session and no user, only then it gonna render. Okay, so I think that's the first and foremost to go in that subsequent scenario. Now we need to go and make the payment authentication. And in our next video, we're gonna create our payment, then we're gonna save the data within our Firestore database.